Hello guys, welcome. My name is Redseven, and in this video we're going to talk about the preliminary patch notes for the patch 0.10.5 which have just been released. Everyone was waiting for this. Let's have a look at them. As a general info, it's important to mention that we do not have a date for the patch and for the wipe. We are still waiting for some official info from the devs. They said very soon. Apparently they have some problems with the met animations which need a bit more time. I would say let's just wait for like 2-3 more days, maybe a week max, I would say, and the patch will definitely come. The first feature that I'm going to talk about is the Flea Market. Very interesting, and I'm excited to see this in the game. This was something that I didn't understand at the beginning, but now we have a bit more info, and I'm gonna quote: "Now you can offer any pre-examined items for sale and purchase any goods from other players," which means, to my understanding, that if you see something on the flea market that is unknown to you, you will not be able to buy it. Yes, you can sell stuff that is unknown because you have to have it in your inventory, and you can examine it then while it's in your stash, right? The other stuff is by leveling up your own standing, you can offer more items and get more additional benefits. Very interesting. We'll have to see how this works. Some other stuff worthy to mention is the handbook and the advanced search engine, also the wish list. I believe overall this feature, the flea market, needs a lot of testing and tweaking. The devs have not tested the flea market with the whole player base. I believe it will require time, and we will have to find out how this thing exactly works. The next two elements which are going to be added are the first iteration of player rankings. This is something that we have not seen in EFT, statistics and stuff like that. I remember, and I believe I said this in my previous videos, I remember myself playing PUBG and always watching my stats to see where I am, and I believe this can make players be more cautious and play better, or try or struggle to play better. We'll see. Some people like this, some people don't. Really curious to see how this works as well. The second edition, animated food and med consumption. Well, this is just the first step. They are adding just the skeleton right now, exactly like with the loading mechanic. They will add more flesh on this body, on this skeleton. The more they create animations, the more they develop this technique, this mechanic. Really interesting. I hope that this will change the pace of the game a bit, but we will have to wait and see. I remember I have said this with the loading mechanic. I thought that the game will just stop being that quick, but they added a lot of vests with a lot of capacity, and almost nothing changed. We'll see. I'm gonna quote some more interesting stuff that the guys are going to add or are going to change. Bullet hits will drain stamina by a different algorithm now. Interesting stuff. Could be very controversial. We'll have to test it in the game. This requires a lot of tweaking in the future as well. A quantity of stamina taken depends on bullets damage, a bulletproof vest presence, and so on. Okay? Ability to place player tags in a container, in the stash, or, well, there will probably be a container for tags, I believe, because there are containers. The item case, the tags can be put in the item case, for example. So I believe they're talking about a new container for the tags. New mechanic. New quests for the mechanic, interesting. There will be a new SMG, the MP7, which is announced to be an anti-armor SMG. We'll have to see how this guy performs as well. Some support for monitors. Blunt damage now depends on the armor class and bullet penetration ratio. Interesting stuff. Very controversial. Could be very controversial. We have to wait and see. There are a lot of fans which are against blunt damage. I do stand for blunt damage. We'll have to wait and see how this goes. And also major changes regarding ergonomics. I already see a lot of videos with better attachments, better ergonomics, better stats for the weapons. This also requires a lot of testing, guys. Second patch chunk on our list, The Mosin attachments, there are a lot of them, as you can see. I'm really curious to see how they look like in the game. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about them. We will see them. We already saw some of them in my videos or in some other videos on the web. Yeah, nothing else to say here, I believe. We'll just have to wait and see how the Mosin with the mag performs. You know, really curious about stuff like that. Next on our list, changes regarding AI. All this stuff is important. Feel free to pause the video and read everything. I'm just gonna quote some like very interesting stuff because of lack of time. Now, AI behavior should become more realistic and eliminate most of the cases where they behave strangely. We'll have to see, because I remember that the scavs were either extremely intelligent or very dumb. We'll have to see if that changed. This should lead to an increase in the effectiveness of their behavior as well as making it more predictable. Well, the first part is good, the second part is bad. I mean, I don't want predictable bots in the game. I want them to be hardcore, hard to defeat and hard to kill. Improved AI hearing system, interesting. And AI frag and stun grenades throwing system has been improved. Well, it was a bit OP before, but we'll see how this goes. I am not complaining here. I really like EFT with tough or harsh bots, which are very hard to kill. But I really don't want to see frozen bots in the door anymore or stuck into each other's body and doing nothing, you know, and we'll have to see how this goes. But I really think they did some major changes here and they need some testing as well, yeah. Here we have some more fixes to locations and some visual fixes. Interesting stuff, but I will give the guys the credit, or we will have to test this stuff and give them the credit as soon as we test it in the game. The immortal body is still there. We have tested it in game on factory and we shot someone 10 times with slugs and the guy didn't want to die. And there's also the invisible bug still there. So although they stated that it has been fixed during the intermediate patch it has not been fixed. And I will give the devs this credit as soon as I test this for myself, yeah. So here in this section, we probably have a solution, or the devs have found a solution for what I was mentioning before, the invincible body, the invincible PMC. We'll have to test this as well. I'm really curious if this has finally worked. But yeah, it's not easy to pinpoint something and to just remove or smash that bug completely. You know, the more you add stuff, the more you discover new bugs, and that bug that happened before and you believe that it has been corrected can somehow come back. You know, it's possible. I'm gonna quote some more stuff now. The player cannot shoot while the animated action was started from the inventory. For example, discharging loading weapons. This is interesting as well. Again, feel free to pause the video and read all the stuff that I've posted. I'm gonna mention the most important stuff because of lack of time. Let me just continue with the sound of searching in various containers on the locations. It was only playing in one earpiece before. Yeah, this happened to me a lot of times. That's why I marked it. A bug that didn't display the pain effect while running with broken legs with painkillers effect. Okay, this is something that I thought they somehow fixed, or not fixed. I thought they changed it, and you don't see that effect while now that you run with broken legs. But apparently it was a bug. Interesting. And yeah, feel free to read all the fixes that you can see on your screens right now. And the last section for our patch today, the changes, some of them very important, especially for sniper rifle lovers. And I quote, "Now it's possible to rebolt both rifles later." The explanation that you see on the screen is a bit confused. Therefore, I went to the forum and asked some guys, and they came back with the following answer. Here is the first answer of one of the forum moderators, and the one below is from one of the forum users. Which technique or mechanic the bolt sniper rifles are going to use remains to be seen. Maybe in the future, before the patch releases, we'll see some, I don't know, maybe a small video or an explanation from the devs. We'll have to wait and see. It's not, for me, it's still not clear how exactly it's going to work. Let me wrap the video up with mentioning the other stuff, which is also important. In the future, you will not be able to name your character however you want. Quest experience amount is increased, rebalancing of weapon mods, ergonomics and recoil, the prices of some items, the cost of repair has changed. The first iteration, exactly what I mentioned before. Ready button on the screen after location selection was added. Now the action run and hold your breath are divided into 2 different keys, also important. You can now change the dispose key assignment, delete by default, which was the eliminating stuff from the stash or from a body or from your inventory. Breath holding is now appointed on the left Alt button by default. Added a second column for key settings. Now you can assign one action to several keys. Interesting, something like Star Citizen has, or I've seen this in other games as well. Iron sights have realistic zeroing, also very interesting. Now, when the pre-order pack is improved, this is also very interesting. The difference in equipment will be sent via game mail if the player already has an account, so no wipe is needed anymore. In the weapons inspector, recoil info is now divided into horizontal and vertical recoil, also very, very important. So this wraps the video up, guys. This was my review of the patch notes, of the preliminary patch notes for the patch 0.10.5. Share your thoughts with us in the comment area below, saying or talking about the stuff that you would like to see the most in the game, the stuff that you would like to try, or if you have something to add to my comments, feel free to do so. Thank you for watching. Thank you patrons for the awesome support so far. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.